Hey guys and gals, today I'll be talking about a movie that I grew up with. So I'm very excited to talk about this because it's been a long time, but I do remember the movie pretty well. It's called sort of The Valet, and it's with Miles O'Keefe. You know, if you see like the Ator film franchise, and you know you can see Miles O'Keefe in other movies. Just Google it. Or IMDb. He has a lengthy good career, I would say, in B movies. You know. A sort of LA, man. I mean, I guess I would say probably came out around the early '80s, during the Conan era. I remember watching this movie on television actually, so that's how I was able to see this movie growing up. And this movie's good. I liked this movie. I was curious. I went on IMDb and Rotten Tomatoes, pretty much having a low score, and I was like, who gives a shit? I like this movie, you know. This kid in the castle started getting, he put down his knights. He said, what happened to knighthood? You know, any knights that can step up their game up these days, you know what I'm saying? And you know, that's the attitude this kid has, right? Suddenly the Green Knight appears in the castle, and the Green Knight is played by Sean Connery himself, Mr. James Bond. Not the young Sean Connery, the old Sean Connery, you know. The early 80s Sean Connery, yeah. The one we know now, actually. Anyway, he asked anybody in any of his knights he could chop his head off to play a game, you know, for sports. And then this valet just came out of nowhere and said, you know what, I'll do it. He chopped the guy's head off, Sean Connery's character's head off, and he came back to life. And he told the knight, you know what? I'm going to fast forward. I mean, he's not saying it in the exact words, but he said like this. I'm going to give you like pretty much like 1 year to grow a beard, you know, to grow up pretty much, to live a life of an adventure pretty much. And the kid sent him on a quest, you know, some kind of quest. I don't know where the fuck the kid is talking about a quest, because I guess to discover his manhood pretty much. And then the knight will squire boy go with him, you know, and they go on these adventures, you know, like meeting a witch, going to a castle. He find a black knight, you know, and the black knight he kills, he kind of set him up during his last breath, saying, "This is my murderer." And then people in the castle are going after him, where the knight is like the protector of that castle. And then the valet, the hero of this movie, met with this beautiful woman who she's in love with, you know, and then he's in love with her. Love at first sight, right, everyone? And the queen of that castle is like, you know what? I won't kill this guy. He looks cute. I want to marry him, you know? And the knight like, oh, fuck. You know, he had that look. Like, Miles O'Keefe's character, he's like, oh, fuck. You can just tell by the look. Like, I gotta marry this old bitch. It's like, damn, for sort of killing the Black Knight. But that one never met this young hot chick that lives in the castle. So the young hot chick's taking the knight and say, you know what? We gotta get out of here, man. We gotta run pretty much. And, you know, she gets captured. And then the knight get transported to somewhere in the land, you know, because the young girl gave the guy her ring, you know. And then, you know, the movie develops when the knight is like in love with this woman. He wants to see her, and he goes back to the castle with the help of this little sorcerer, and he sells the woman like old and stuff, and they brought her back to life with her ring. And then the woman getting kidnapped by another group of knights in another castle. And then the knight the hero of the movie had to go back and save her again. But then he fails to save her, you know, and then he was kind of depressed. To fast forward, everyone, he was depressed. He went inside this other castle for refuge, you know, and then he saw the woman that he loves. She was alive, and then the king of that castle kind of like took her in for his own, you know, like, you know, but he was a nice guy, you know, he respects her, but he knows the woman likes him, but he wasn't like jealous or nothing. So the woman tells the knight, you know, gives her like the scarf to go on his quest, just to pretty much to see the Green Knight, you know, to pretty much the guy had to film him his death for Sean Connery's character, you know, like when he has to chop the knight's head off, you know, because, you know, the bet was you chop my head off, now I gotta chop yours. So his 1 year game was up, you know, and, you know, I don't want to spoil anything. I thought this was a fun movie, you know, and I don't want to spoil the ending moments. I'll let you guys hold your breath. Did the guy get his head chopped off from Sean Connery character, the Green Knight? Well, you find that out by watching this movie. Anyway, sort of